Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Army, your friendly neighborhood Filipino eschatologist. Today we're going to touch on chapter 2 of the Book of Enoch. And in chapter 2 of the Book of Enoch, he talks about what the angels showed him, and it was pretty much everything that was happening in the sky, which is the sun, the moon, the stars, and their paths in the sky. And he talks about how it remains consistent and doing the exact same thing that they were supposed to do, that they were created to do by God, and they were very obedient. Now, if you think about the sun, the moon, the stars, you don't really think about it being a living, breathing light that God has created to shine upon the earth, because he loved us so much that he wanted life to be comfortable for us. And so these creations have been following the same route and the same path every day, and they're being very obedient with God. This is what chapter 2 was talking about, and how it's awesome and magnificent that these creation of God is obedient to him. And then he takes the focus down to earth, and everything that God created in the earth, the plants, the animals, following the course of what they were created to do. And then he focuses on our own obedience to God, and he pointed out that even the stars in the sky, everything else that God has created, was giving God worship and was praising God. And then it says, look at the rivers and the lakes and the ocean, the waters flowing back and forth, the way God had created them to do. But then he gets to humans, and he points out that we have been very disobedient. The people have been very disobedient to God. They were being unfaithful and not obedient to God's commandments. And then it says that they have spoken arrogant and harsh words against God, the very one who created them. It talks about how stubborn humankind was towards him. So this is a very short chapter, but it contrasts the obedience of everything else that God created versus humans' rebellion. So this part is obedience and this part is rebellion. The point is very clear. The cosmos honors God, but humans didn't honor him. And in my humble opinion, the same thing is happening in our life today. I think that human beings have always had that sinful nature from the beginning, from when Adam and Eve fell from grace. From the beginning, human beings have always been very rebellious against God, showing so much contempt against God's greatness. And it's happening today. It's like we don't really want to understand who God really is in our life, like how powerful and how strong, and how he could just wipe us out at a word that he speaks. He could just wipe everybody out. But he's so merciful that he also cannot get away from being so merciful for us, because his spirit is living in us, in every single person. When you turn your back on God and you just take on everything on your own, whether you believe that you can do it or not, it is like showing God that he is not enough. Like he's not powerful enough, and he's not worth the reverence to at all. So you're saying that the creator who created everything in the whole world, the one that has the power, with just his word being spoken and everything is being created, that very being, that very deity, is not enough for you to respect. The arrogance of non-believers is just amazing. And if you're on the fence, we need to start really thinking and mulling about exactly where you want to be in that scenario, whether you want to be in the side of God or in the side of evil. Chapter 2 ends not with the judgment, but with a warning to everyone about the end, about the judgment in the end, not the actual judgment. It hasn't been shown yet, but talking about it, it's saying something about it, like this is what's going to happen in the end, not showing it yet. It's just a warning, and it invites us to reflect on it, to really think about the consequences in the end if we choose to be rebellious against God and his greatness. So the question is, if the stars, the sun and the moon can obey God, why can't we? The heavens become a mirror and a rebuke to human pride, because you're seeing, like, if the cosmos, if the sun, the moon, the stars, everything on earth, the lakes, the ocean can obey God, why can't we? And we're the humans, we're the ones with the spirit. Because if they're disobedient, then that's understandable, because they're just creation. But they're not thinking, humans like us. We're the ones with the discernment and the understanding of God, who God really is. So why is it so hard for us to do that?